Hello students, I am Professor Karan Punjabi and I am Law Faculty at Reliable Classes. Students, today we are going to start with the subject of mercantile law. Students, the subject of mercantile law this name contains two words. Number one is mercantile, other one is law. Students, when we talk about the word law, this means rules, regulations, principles, or directions. So a plain simple meaning of the word law would say that it means rules, regulations or principles or directions governing something. So that is the definition of the word law. Now this word law in advanced countries is also called social engineering. Now why do we call it engineering? Students, जिस तरह से when you have to construct a bridge or when you have to construct a flyover, everything needs to be engineered properly. You have to take care of the place, you have to take care of the people that are going to travel through that place. Everything is taken care and उसके हिसाब से according to the plans of the engineers a bridge is constructed. Now engineering, civil engineering is for construction. Similarly, when we talk about law, it has to be systematic. So when we say that law is social engineering, this means that people in society have to be engineered. So when we say that people in society are engineered, that means that to have uniformity in the society, no one should behave erratically, and because of this there are some set of rules, principles and directions given for the people of the society. Now this rules, set of directions, regulations is called law, and that is why it is called social engineering, because it creates systematic and a very organized way of life, and apart from that it also creates uniformity. आप जैसे फ्लाईओवर कहीं से भी नहीं उड़ा सकते, कहीं पे भी आप फ्लाईओवर नहीं बना सकते, कहीं पे भी आप बस स्टॉप नहीं बना सकते, एवरीथिंग इज इंजीनियर्ड. उसी तरह से ह्यूमंस कैन ऑल्सो नॉट बिहेव इरैटिकली. ह्यूमंस हैव टू बी इंजीनियर्ड, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ विच द कंसेप्ट ऑफ लॉ, दैट इज सोशल इंजीनियरिंग, केम इनटू एग्जिस्टेंस. Now let's talk about the word mercantile. The word mercantile means anything related to trade or commerce. So the word mercantile says that anything that is related to trade or commerce would form in the word of mercantile. Now if we join these two words, that is mercantile law, we can say that these are the rules and regulations that govern trade and commerce. Students, as we know that most of our laws are adapted from Britishers, and in England what happened after Industrial Revolution, lot of things started happening and the business grew a lot. Now because of that, because the business was growing at a great pace, they thought that there is a need to come up with a set of rules and regulations for the businesses. Now the same was adapted in India when the other laws were being adapted. So Indian Contract Act 1872 and other acts that were created by Britishers that were adapted as it is for India. So this law is also, most of it is adopted by India. Because in India also the business grew at some point of time, and there was felt that there is a need for defining rules and regulations for this business. Now students, our first topic is going to be the Indian Contract Act 1872. The Indian Contract Act 1872, it will tell about the rules and regulations of a contract. The first chapter that we are starting today is the meaning of contract. So the first thing is that define a contract. How will you define contract? Now to start with, the term contract was derived from the Latin word contractum, which means to do or not to do. So students, from where did this word contract came into existence? This word contract was derived from a Latin word called contractum. Now this contractum word means to do an act or not to do an act. So students, to do something, that is called act. And when you talk about not to do something, that is called abstinence of an act. So when a person does something, that is called an act, and when a person not does something, that is called abstinence from that act. Now as I said that the word contract means to do something, or the word contract also means not to do something. So अगर समझ लीजिए कि है ना, आपने किसी को बिल्डिंग के कंस्ट्रक्शन का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दिया एंड दैट पर्सन अग्रीज दैट मैं ये बिल्डिंग आपको कंस्ट्रक्ट करके दूंगा, आई विल कंस्ट्रक्ट द बिल्डिंग ऑफ I will construct the building and this is the contract. So this is agreement to do something. That person has agreed to construct a building. That person has agreed to do something. But लेकिन समझिए, अगर मुझे कोई ऐसा बोले कि सर आप एक काम कीजिए, मैं आपको 1 करोड़ रुपए दूंगा, लेकिन भगवान के लिए आप सर लॉ के लेक्चर ना लें, तो what am I doing? And if I agree to it, उसके लिए what we can say, if I agree to not deliver lectures again for money, then in that case that is not to do an act. So when you agree to do something or when you agree not to do something, the both situations are covered in the word contract. Students, a contract comes into existence by the action of parties. ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो है, इट कम्स इनटू एग्जिस्टेंस बाय द एक्शन ऑफ पार्टीज. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज अ थिंग जो अपने आप नहीं होता है. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आप लोगों ने कभी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट किया है? यस. When we talk about contract ऐसा नहीं है that if you have given a contract of painting or you have given a contract for construction of a building or you have given a contract of doing something else, that does not mean कि सिर्फ बड़ी बड़ी चीज़ें बनाने का ही contract होता है. Contract is there in every small thing. You know, if you go to a vada pav wala and ask for a vada pav, you purchase a vada pav, that is also a contract. When you come here in a coaching classes, you pay the fees and we deliver you lectures, that is also a contract. When you sit in an auto and tell that auto wala to drop you at a railway station and that person drops you at the railway station, that is also a contract. So students, contract ऐसा नहीं है कि हमने खाली बिल्डिंग का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दे दिया या पेंटिंग का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दे दिया तो ये बड़ी बड़ी चीजें हैं, ये फ्लाईओवर बनाने का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दे दिया तो ये सब कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है. नो, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज एवरीवेयर. इवन व्हेन यू परचेज वेजिटेबल, दैट इज आल्सो अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. बट क्या ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट अपने आप होता है? नो. क्या आप ऑटो में अपने आप बैठ जाते हैं? नहीं. You know, you do not sit in an auto अपने आप and then the person, you know, leaves you at the railway station. No, it does not happen like that. You ask that person that whether the auto wala will go with you or not to the railway station, or फिर by the act of yours and the by act of that auto wala you reach to your destination. So it is very necessary in the contract that action of the parties is very important. ये जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है ना भैया, ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है ना, ये प्रेम नहीं है जो अपने आप हो जाएगा. यू नो, दिस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट इज कम्स इनटू एग्जिस्टेंस ओनली एंड ओनली बाय actions of the party. So until and unless there is a conscious actions by the parties, then and only then the contract will come into existence. Now what happens in a contract? A contract creates legal rights and obligations. A contract creates legal rights and obligations. Legal rights का मतलब आपके अधिकार. Your obligations means the duties that you have to perform. So for example, as I said, कि समझो कि मैं एक ऑटो वाले को बोलता हूँ कि ठीक है, I will pay you 100 rupees and you have to drop me till to the railway station. तो अगर this happens, this is a contract, right? Now what is my legal obligation? My obligation is to pay him money. And what is my legal right? My right is that I should reach at my destination. That is my right and my obligation is to pay the money. Now this is a legal obligation. I am bound to perform that obligation. Similarly, अगर मैंने ऑटो वाले को पैसे दिए हैं, then in that case it becomes his legal duty or his obligation to drop me at the railway station. And what is his legal right? उसका अधिकार क्या है? To get that 100 rupees. So in a contract, legal rights and legal obligations are created. Secondly, a contract is enforceable by law. A contract should be what? A contract should be enforceable by law. Now what is the meaning of this word enforceable? Enforceable का मतलब ये है कि अगर जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है उसके टर्म्स आपने जो अग्री किए हैं, जो आपके लीगल राइट्स हैं और जो आपके लीगल ऑब्लिगेशंस हैं, अगर उन ऑब्लिगेशंस में कुछ ब्रीच हुआ या किसी पार्टी ने अपनी ड्यूटी परफॉर्म नहीं की, इन दैट केस आप जाकर कोर्ट का दरवाजा खटखटा सकते हैं. तो अगर अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट गिव्स यू द राइट टू नॉक द डोर्स ऑफ द कोर्ट टू एनफोर्स दैट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, then in that case that contract is enforceable by law. So for example, अगर समझ लीजिए कि आपने एक बंगलो खरीदना है और उस बंगलो के लिए you have given a 50 lakh rupees advance. The total value of the bungalow is 3 crores and you have paid 50 lakh rupees as an advance and booked the bungalow. Now if the other party says that कि भैया ये 50 लाख रुपए अब मेरे, मैं आपको बंगलो भी नहीं दूंगा और फिर I will not sell this bungalow to you and मैं पैसे भी आपको नहीं दूंगा, then in that case what you can do is you can go to the court and tell him कि बॉस देखो I had agreed with this person कि मैं ये बंगला खरीदने वाला हूँ and I have paid him 50 lakh rupees. Now when you can go to the court to enforce the contract, then in that case it is said to be enforceable by law. आप अगर कोर्ट का दरवाजा खटखटा के उनको बता सकते हैं कि देखो this person is not performing his duties, and then the court will force that person to perform his duties to either return your money or they will say to sell the bungalow to you. Then in that case, this such kind of an arrangement is called enforceability. So अगर किसी भी चीज के लिए आप अगर कोर्ट का दरवाजा खटखटा सकते हैं, then remember, then the contract is enforceable by law. Students, now what the legal section says. Section 2 subsection H of the Contract Act says that a contract is an agreement enforceable by Section 2H क्या बोलता है? Section 2H simply says that a contract is an agreement enforceable by law. So there are mainly two things which are important for a contract. It is, number one is agreement, secondly it is enforceability in the law. एक तो किसी चीज के लिए अग्री किया होना चाहिए और दूसरा वो जो अग्रीमेंट है that should be enforceable in the court of law. So when we say, we can say that contract is equal to agreement plus enforceability, right? So contract would be agreement plus enforceability. Now that means that an agreement which is not enforceable is not a contract. तो अगर कोई अग्रीमेंट है that is not enforceable, that means वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं बन सकता. So if I say that अगर वो ऑटो वाला है, अगर आपने किसी ऑटो वाले को 100 रुपीज दिए हैं, आपने वो 100 रुपीज दिए हैं एंड उसको बोला है कि आप एक काम कीजिए, रात को 9 बजे आ जाना एंड ड्रॉप मी एट द रेलवे स्टेशन. If that auto wala does not comes, then in that case what will you do? The amount involved is only 100 rupees. Now if the auto wala does not come, you always have the option of take another auto wala and go. So आप उस वो ऑटो वाला नहीं आया, इसके लिए you are not going to go to the court and enforce this thing कि भैया ऑटो वाला नहीं आया एंड मेरा 100 रुपए का नुकसान हो गया, इसके लिए I want to file a case against the auto wala. You can obviously do that, but will you do that? No, because the amount involved is very less. So in such a case, your contract, if it is not enforceable, it is then not going to mature into a contract. So the agreement which is not enforceable in the court of law, that agreement will never become a contract. So now let us understand what is the word agreement means. An agreement is created when one party to the contract proposes to the other party and that proposal is accepted. Students, now what is agreement? Agreement is created by when one party to the contract proposes to the other party and that proposal is accepted. अब ये proposal जो word है, that proposal ये आप लोगों का वो special word वाला proposal नहीं है. It is not that special thing that you guys believe कि है ना भैया proposal ये होता है, proposal वो होता है. ये वो proposal नहीं है. ये proposal is a routine proposal. ये प्रपोजल इज प्रपोजिंग टू डू समथिंग. तो इफ आई से वड़ा पाव वाला कि भैया वड़ा पाव वाले आज आपके पास भजिया है, देन आई एम प्रपोजिंग समथिंग. और अगर भजिया वाला बोलता है कि हाँ हाँ आज मेरे पास भजिया है, देन इन दैट केस दिस इज सेड टू बी एक्सेप्टेंस ऑफ अ प्रपोजल. दिस फॉर्म्स एन अग्रीमेंट. मैंने प्रपोज किया कि भैया आपके पास भजिया है, उसने बोला कि हाँ मेरे पास भजिया है, then in that case my proposal is accepted and this comes up and this sums up to become an agreement. Similarly if I say an auto wala कि भैया आप रेलवे स्टेशन चलोगे, अगर वो बोलता है हाँ हाँ मैं रेलवे स्टेशन चलूंगा, then I propose to go to the railway station and that person agreed to my proposal. This formed an agreement. So what we can say is that an agreement is proposal plus acceptance of that proposal. An agreement is proposal plus acceptance of that proposal. And what we learned previously, we learned that a contract is equal to agreement plus enforceability. हमने क्या पढ़ा है? That a contract is equal to agreement plus enforceability. And what we learned that an agreement is proposal plus acceptance of that proposal. So if I want to define a contract and I have to simplify this entire equation, I can say that a contract is equal to proposal plus acceptance of the proposal, which we know is an agreement plus enforceability. So a contract can be said as proposal plus acceptance of that proposal plus enforceability of the entire agreement. That would form a contract.